Personal Guarantee Part 2. If your small business received a COVID EIDL and you're confused about what personal guarantee means, well, this is Personal Guarantee Part 2. And I'm Trevor. I'm your EIDL expert. Did your small business receive a COVID EIDL? Then you're going to want to watch the rest of this video. If not, if you're not a small business owner, please scroll on by and watch that cute kitten video that comes up next in your feed, because if you're not a small business owner with a COVID EIDL, I'm sorry, today's video is not for you. We're trying to help avoid those comments of people who don't know what EIDL is. We recently did a video about the personal guarantee. We saw folks are still confused by the information I shared in that video, as witnessed the comments that I'm going to review in today's video. But to begin with, let me try to just simplify this as much as possible. If your small business received a COVID EIDL and your business is formed as a business entity, that means a corporation of some type, limited liability corporation, limited liability partnership, S Corp, C Corp, other type of formally organized entity, and you are an owner of that business with a 20% or greater ownership interest in the business, and the loan is greater than $200,001 and above, then you personally guaranteed the loan when your business got the loan. You put your hand up, you said, listen, if the business fails, if the entity fails, and the assets from the entity are insufficient to pay off the loan, I, as an owner with 20% or greater of the entity, the corporation, I will pledge that I will do my best to make payments on this loan out of my own money. But for those of you folks who are sole proprietors of a business that is not an LLC, that is not a corporation, that is not a formally organized entity. In other words, you file your taxes for the business on your personal tax return under your personal Social Security number, not under an EIN number for a formal business entity. That means you are a natural person who got the COVID loan. And I'm sorry to tell you, but no matter the size of the loan, because you are not protected by a corporation, because you as the natural person received the loan, that means you are liable for the loan debt no matter how much money you borrowed. I have quite a few comments from that YouTube video about the personal guarantee. So here in Personal Guarantee Part 2, I'm going to run through these comments. If you could take a moment and just hit the thumbs up for liking the video, please. And if you could subscribe to the channel if you are not already subscribed. We found that more than 70% of folks who watch our videos are not subscribed. So please subscribe so that YouTube will see that you put some value on the information in this video, and YouTube will share this video with other small business owners with a COVID EIDL. And thank you in advance for taking the 14 seconds to hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Here are two examples of what I mean by the confusion between personal guarantee for owners of a formally organized entity and sole proprietors who have no protections under the law from a corporate entity. Because as a natural person with no corporate shield to protect them, that person, that sole proprietor, that independent contractor is personally liable, which is the same thing as a personal guarantee. SBA makes everything more complicated. I don't blame many of you for being confused by this. And before I go further, I would strongly recommend that you do two things. Read your loan agreement. We did a video about that a few weeks back about the loan agreement, part of our 𝗘𝗜𝗚𝗟𝗏 series of videos. And number two, hire an attorney to answer these questions for you. Here are two comments which proves the confusion with the difference between a sole proprietor who is personally liable for the business debt because there's no corporate entity, and a corporation where there is no personal guarantee if the loan is less than $200,000. The first comment, or is a question, what if you don't own the house at the address? Maybe he was wrong choosing that comment. Okay, here's the next one. My loan is for $10,000, so no personal guarantee, correct? So if I stop paying, they can't take anything, correct? Number one, John, 𝗓𝗍𝗍𝗃, you don't tell us here if you're a sole proprietor or if you have a corporation. So I cannot answer the question whether your statement is correct or not. My loan is for $10,000, so no personal guarantee, correct? That would be correct if you, John, are an owner of a corporation, an LLC, LLP, or a corporation or other formal entity. And the loan is less than $200,000, therefore, that is correct. You are not, there's no personal guarantee. But John, if you are a sole proprietor and you got a $10,000 loan, you are liable for the debt, which is the same thing as a personal guarantee. When you were running your business, you didn't take that extra step to hire an attorney and form a corporation, to form an LLC or a corporation to protect your personal assets. Therefore, as a natural person, you personally guaranteed the loan. You are personally liable for the loan, no matter the amount. The second question here is important. So if I stop paying, they can't take anything, correct? Not necessarily. Again, because your business got a loan for less than $25,000, therefore the business assets are not collateralized. Let's pretend that you have a little pet store and you sell goldfish all day long. And in the pet store, you've got, a dozen fish tanks filled with goldfish. The fish tanks are fixtures. The goldfish are inventory. And at the counter, which is a fixture, you've got a calculator, which is equipment, and you've got a computer, which is equipment, and you've got a cash register, which is equipment. All of those assets, if your loan is less than $25,000, are not collateralized, meaning the SBA does not have a lien against those assets. But if your business, your pet shop where you sell goldfish, is not a formal business entity, then all of those assets are in your personal name, just like your house is, just like your retirement account is, your bank account. All of those things are your assets as a personal, natural person. And therefore, when you say, if I stop paying, they can't take anything, correct, that is not correct. If they sue you to perform on paying the loan, and if they get a judgment against you, then they will have a judgment against the goldfish, the cash register, your house, your retirement account, and so on. Quick codicil, though. They have to go to court. They have to get a judgment against you, at which point you hire an attorney, you can defend yourself at trial, or you can file a personal bankruptcy. This is not legal advice. Please consult with an attorney to confirm what I'm telling you is accurate. But you can see how, with these two statements, there is this massive confusion about people who got loans less than $200,000 but are not formed as a business entity, and those people are walking around all day thinking that they are not personally liable for the debt, and they are thinking incorrectly. Next comment. What if a 100% owner of a loan of $265,000 passes away with a home in a trust and no other owners of the business? Well, I apologize, but we cannot answer this question because this sounds to me like it's a legal question for an attorney. The minute you mention an owner of the business dying, and the minute you bring in the fact that there is a home in a trust and there are no other owners of the business, that to me is a legal issue. Please consult with an attorney. And again, this goes back to the advice I shared just a moment ago. Read your loan agreement and hire an attorney. You need them if you're dealing with the SBA. And by the way, if you have an attorney already and they can't answer your questions, share our videos with them. They should buy our EIDL resource hub, but certainly they should watch our videos. Okay, 𝗓𝗍𝗍𝗃5140. I was so terrified that SBA would put a lien on my home. The SBA did not put a lien on your home, 𝗓𝗍, unless your business owns the home. If the home is in your personal name and there's a corporation, there's no lien on the home. The lien is on assets owned by the business, including real estate owned by the business entity. Likewise, if you're a sole proprietor and you work out of your house, there's no lien on your home. But should you default on the loan, should the SBA sue you to force you to pay on the loan because you're a sole proprietor who is personally liable for the loan, and if the government wins a judgment against you in court, then potentially they could put a lien on your house. But as it stands right now, Maylene, there's no lien on your house. Next comment. What if your company files bankruptcy? Sonia Bridgewater, thank you for this. We did videos before about bankruptcy, so Sonia, I would encourage you to find that playlist, click through here, and watch the videos we've previously done about bankruptcy, also about the impact of default on your credit report. Next is from Daniel O'Keefe, 4749. My wife and I are talking about transferring the business ownership to my name, and a friend of mine showed me some forms for transferring responsibility for the loan once we change the LLC ownership to me. I doubt there is any issue, but I assume everything else would stay the same, ? Have you had any situations where transferring the responsibility to another person created a problem with the agreement? Any insight is appreciated. Daniel, I replied to this comment and I advised you that you should consider booking a 1-hour consultation with me because there's too much specific, unique and nuanced information that is not possible to answer in this video and is not possible to answer in a reply to your comment. But I'm going to tell you there are some disturbing statements you make here in this comment, in this question, Daniel. Number one, a friend of mine showed me some forms. Okay. This is how you all get in trouble because you don't listen to experts. And I understand there are not a lot of us out there. When I was interviewed last year by 𝗬𝗓 from NBC Universal about the whole nightmare mess with the United States Treasury and SBA sending nearly 1 million loans to the Treasury, in the first phone call with me, I gave him a couple of names of other people here on YouTube who share information about the program. And he said, yeah, I'm looking at those people and I'm going to reach out to some other folks I found. In a subsequent phone call, he said to me, holy cow, there's like nobody who knows what you guys know. And that is a sad state of affairs. So please, Daniel, a friend of mine should not be the source of your information about a program which is very complicated to navigate. And certainly, because you signed a loan agreement, you are bound by the terms of that contract. Consult with an attorney, consider booking a 1-hour call with me, and follow the process outlined by the SBA, not by your friend. Next thing you said here, which is rather distressing, I doubt there is any issue. I mean, Daniel, I don't know if you've watched our videos. I don't know if you've watched the videos on some of the other channels that talk about this program, but there are always issues. I said in a recent video that because the SBA makes things so complicated and is so dysfunctional, because the Congress fails to support the SBA properly with the proper funding and demands that they collect on payments and root out fraud instead of supporting you, I said in that previous video, because of those reasons, that's why we have a small business here as EIDL expert. There is no other reason for us to exist. I promise you, if things were hunky-dory with the SBA and people, quote unquote, I doubt there is any issue, but I assume everything else would stay the same. If that's the way it was, we wouldn't be on this channel. I would probably be playing my guitar and singing Irish songs to you right now, because I'd much rather do that than spend my days thinking about, worrying about, learning about the SBA so I can share it with you. Don't make that assumption. There is nothing easy about working with the SBA. Have you had any situations where transferring responsibility to another person created a problem? Yes. Yes, we did a partnership buyout last year, and they went to a bank. They got approved for an SBA loan. They had an existing COVID loan, and the guy at the bank screwed the whole thing up. And they were being told by the SBA they had to pay back the entire COVID loan, which was $1 million, out of the new loan, which was $1,250,000. This would have put the business underwater, would have caused the business to fail. I convinced the SBA to waive the requirement for the $1 million. And I'm an expert, and it was hard to do. That's why there's so much, Daniel, that is nuanced and needing specific expertise. Your first step should be to certainly consult with an attorney. And again, if you'd like to book time with me, there's a link in the description. Okay. Charlie Wyckoff. Hello. Oh, Charlie, I want to thank you because this is an excellent comment. In the last video, I asked you folks if I explained the personal guarantee aspect to you properly, and to comment below, which, by the way, that request still stands. If you still don't understand the personal guarantee aspect of the COVID EIDL, let us know in the comments. Let us know if we did a good job of explaining it to you. You know, compliments are a good thing too, not just questions. You can always give us a compliment and a thumbs up. By the way, hit the thumbs up in this video right now and subscribe to the channel. Okay, Charlie, this was a great commentary. I do. I have the whole thing. Okay, Charlie writes, hello, as per your request for feedback, some points you made are clear. Loans secured under a protected entity like an LLC and are under $200,000 have no personal guarantee. But a sole proprietor can have personal assets targeted after a court issues a judgment. Another clear point, if the protected entity, the LLC, has a loan of $500,000 or less, there is no collateral requirement. But if the loan is above $500,000, your personal home is not required for collateral if your home is where the business operates. Charlie goes on to say, what is unclear, does the personal guarantee specifically exclude one's personal residence? I've read my loan agreement. I cannot find anywhere that states my home is excluded. So I have to rightfully assume it could be seized unless it is in some way it would be protected under some type of bankruptcy. Also, some food for thought. For a total discharge of debtor under Chapter 7 bankruptcy, the state of Ohio law only protects up to $150,000 in home equity. Sounds like Charlie's done his homework, or her homework, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, and has consulted with an attorney. But I want to point out that we did realize that with this screenshot that we shared in the last video, which is a paragraph from the loan agreement where it states that if your loan is $500,000 or greater, that the business is pledging the real property, the real estate owned by the business, as collateral, except in the case where that real estate is your personal residence. In other words, you've got a corporation and you borrowed more than $500,000 and you run your business out of your house. In that case, they're saying that that house is not pledged as collateral. Unless, of course, the business entity owns the house, which means it's not your personal residence, right? It's a business residence. It's owned by the business entity. Important distinction. And again, we're not attorneys, so please check with an attorney and confirm this information. But more to the point, we realized with Charlie's comment and a couple of others we saw, there was a lot of confusion because it seems that you folks were reading the part here in this paragraph about the $500,000, not the part that I highlighted, which said the personal residence is not pledged as collateral. Now, I selected that paragraph because I felt it was a good demonstration of how the SBA does not consider your personal residence to be collateral, okay? Even if you are a sole proprietor, they'd still have to go to court and get a judgment against you, and then they could potentially attach a lien. But in terms of the loan agreement and pledging collateral, your personal residence was not pledged no matter the loan amount. And Charlie is correct when he says, I have read my loan agreement. I cannot find anywhere that states my home is excluded. That's correct, because like so much about the SBA's poor communications, they don't explain it properly. And that's why we're here doing these videos, because all of you are so confused about this. And I remind you folks that, as I've said before, and as I said earlier in this video, but for issues like this, there is no reason for us to exist as EIDL experts. Please share this video with your attorney or your accountant. They need to know this information to better advise you on your business operations. Charlie, I want to thank you. This was an exceptionally good comment. Okay, on to the next comment. This one's from Ms. 𝗔𝗱𝘃𝗀𝗃. Here is the question. I have opened my S Corp 11 years ago. I'm self-employed truck driver getting a 1099 to my S Corp. Wouldn't your corporation be sending an invoice? Not an accountant, and not an attorney, but that seems to be confusing. I mean, because like if going back to the goldfish store, if my goldfish store is an S Corp and I'm selling goldfish out of the store, I'm selling my inventory, everybody buys goldfish, they get an invoice, right? They get a receipt from me for buying the goldfish. One bag of one goldfish, $3.12, right? The customer doesn't give me a 1099. I want to say this to you, Ms. 𝗃𝗍𝗂. We have discussed this on our other channel, Simple Sense for Small Business. We're going to be digging a bit deeper into this, including a guidebook that I'm working on, about the situation with folks who are getting paid 1099s when, in fact, they're employees. It's what I call the famous 1099 scam of the 21st century. More on that on our Simple Sense channel. But back to this situation, back to your question. So getting a 1099 to my S Corp, filing both business and personal taxes. Right, because you're a corporation, so you'd file a corporate return, an 1120, yes. I took $95,000 5 years ago, but it never missed a payment. Good for you. Excellent, that's good to hear. I am protected by my S Corp or I have a personal guarantee. Also, I don't have any business assets anymore, so what would happen if I just close my S Corp and stop paying? Okay, so these are actually really good questions. Thank you, Ms. 𝗃𝗍𝗂, for supplying this question and comment. Number one, because your loan is less than $200,000 and because you are protected by a corp, there is no personal guarantee. So you're off the hook there. Number two, because there are no business assets, when you say there's no business assets anymore, I hope you did not sell the business assets without getting permission from the SBA, because that is... in the world where I come from, in the mortgage industry, that's called fraud. And you can be in big trouble with the SBA if you sell assets without their permission, because the assets are collateralized in the loan, right? Going back to the goldfish store, the goldfish, the fish tanks, the cash register, the calculator, all of this is collateralized as part of the COVID loan. If you sell those assets, other than those you sell in the normal course of business, such as selling goldfish, if you sell the assets without SBA's permission, then you have violated the terms of the loan agreement, and they can come after you pretty hard and heavy. And they're actually looking for that right now. And they're giving people a really hard time about it. Going back to the goldfish store as an example, if I sell goldfish every day, that's normal course of business. So I can sell those. I don't need permission from the SBA. But if I want to sell the fish tanks, I want to sell the counter and the cash register and the calculator, because I want to turn my goldfish store into a fish restaurant. If I want to sell all those assets, I need SBA's permission. I hope that's clear. Thank you for this excellent comment. I'm sorry, one more question. I don't have any business. What could happen? What would happen if I just close my S Corp and stop paying? Please consult with an attorney. This is not legal advice. But if you close your corporation and stop paying, then you're in default. So the SBA can sue your business, not sue you personally, because there's no personal guarantee. Please confirm that with an attorney. But as we've done in previous videos like this one, you're probably going to have to file a business bankruptcy in that case to discharge the entire debt. So there's no lingering debt that could be an issue with the SBA in the future. Okay, next one is from 𝗓𝗠 7265. Those are interesting years. 7265. 65, well, Linda Ray wasn't around yet on planet Earth. I was. And 72, that was my year to learn about how much I loved Led Zeppelin. 𝗓𝗠. Hello, Trevor. Hello, Marley. I have an EIDL loan of $240,000. I signed a personal guarantee. If I default, will it be applied to my personal credit? The business and loan is under my LLC, not under a sole proprietorship. Marley, I think I'm in love. This is one of the most specifically and well-detailed comments. Clearly, you understood what I was saying in the video, the difference between a corporation and a sole proprietor in terms of personal guarantee. So thank you, Marley, for that. But one quick note here is that you did not sign a personal guarantee if your loan was more than $200,001. There was no separate document you signed that said I'm personally guaranteed. I know because I processed hundreds of these things during the pandemic, loans over $200,000, and there was no separate document about personal guarantee. But it is pledged as it's part of the rules of the loan program. As far as your personal credit, we've answered that in a previous video over here, which has gotten a lot of traction. So rather than run over the old ground here, 𝗓𝗡𝗓, I recommend you watch the video. And thanks again for your comment. So there you have it. Those are our COVID-iversary YouTube comments in personal guarantee number 2. As always, Linda Ray and I truly appreciate you for following our channel. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. The numbers don't lie. More than 70% of folks who watch these free videos are not subscribed. Please, when you subscribe, even if you think you're not interested in getting the information anymore, subscribing to the channel, hitting the thumbs up button, you're telling YouTube that the video helped you in one way or another. It was informative. You may need this information again in the future, and you're telling YouTube, the algorithm, it's important. And when you do that, you're helping us to grow the channel, because YouTube will then take your validation for the video and will share this video and our other videos with more business owners just like you. So please take a moment, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you need assistance with your COVID EIDL, click on the link in the description. There's all kinds of information about what we can offer you for help. And if you found today's video helpful, here's Personal Guarantee Part 1.